What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of In the Zone podcast/show. I'm your host, Spencer Dial. Hopefully, this is the first of many. Obviously, my co-host is Tyson Watson. Tyson, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yo, what's up? It's Tyson Watson, Michigan State signee. Today our first guest is Gaoteote. Welcome, man. Welcome to the first episode. Happy to have you, man.
Appreciate it. Glad to be a part of this kickoff.
Yeah. All right.
For sure. So let's get into it. So talk about your childhood. Growing up, did you always want to play football? Did you always want to be a linebacker and all that good stuff?
Growing up, yeah, kind of football has always been like a big part of my family. I mean, all of my brother plays it, all of my cousins played it. Mostly all my family plays sports. I honestly didn't really at a young age know what position I wanted to play until really I got into my 8th grade year. So that's when I started taking linebacker serious, and yeah, just growing up, football is a big thing.
For sure. The other thing I want to say is where did you grow up? Because I know people see, you played at St. John and Cali, and then now obviously you played at Bishop in Nevada or Las Vegas. Where did you grow up around?
So I was born in American Samoa, and then my family moved to. So mostly I grew up my life in Hawaii, Oahu. Grew up there for about 13 years, and then we moved up to Vegas. So I've been living here for 5 years now.
All right. Yeah, so that's interesting because people always ask me so I'm always wondering so that's where your name comes from, your last name. Does it have any significance to your family and your first name?
Yeah, so my first name comes from my grandfather, my mom's dad, and my middle name Talashe comes from my dad's grandfather, and my last name it's a high title in American Samoa. Basically, we have still chiefs and stuff back home over there, so it's one of the high titles that can be held. So yeah.
How often do you visit back home? How often do you go back there? Hang with your family.
I go to Hawaii periodically, and then American Samoa. I haven't been there in a minute. I haven't been there in a while.
All right.
The other thing I was going to ask too about American Samoa is you've seen recently a ton of draft picks from there. Obviously, Penei Sewell for the Lions. I'm not sure if Marcus Mariota is from there. I think he is, and Tua Tagovailoa. So, what do you think? More recently is. I don't know. I mean, you didn't see a lot of players come there until as of recent. Do you think it's just the beginning, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's starting to kick off. I feel like people are starting to notice what type of people and what type of players that we can be. I mean, obviously, most Samoan people you ever meet are huge and mostly all play offensive guard and are big as hell. So I guess people are starting to notice that what intangibles we have as people, not to gas them up, but I'm just saying there's just another part of that.
For sure.
Right. So yeah, that's great. So what made your family decide to move and come to America? Was it they felt like it was a better opportunity for them and for you in your life? Or
so my dad's actually retired from the Army. My dad was in the military.
All right.
So he was stationed there when I was born, and then we moved to Hawaii because we got moved again to a new company, and so those are kind of the biggest reason. For Vegas, yeah, we kind of wanted to get a little bit more exposure for football. That was the only big move that was for football, but other than that, it was just because my dad was in the Army.
All right.
You said you moved to Vegas. So did you ever live in California when you played at St. John Bosco, or did you still live in Vegas then?
No, yeah, I did live in Cali during that time.
Okay, gotcha. That's where that connection comes from. All right, I guess Tyson doesn't have anything else. You got anything else on that, Tyson?
Oh no, I mean that's interesting having them. I have some people in my family that have been in the military and they had to move a little bit, so that's interesting. I know some people who had to move schools every year because somebody they had to move because their dad had restation or they can never was that a problem for you growing up having not being able to build that stable relationship with people because you had to move sometimes to station?
Oh yeah, no, not really. We kind of stayed in Hawaii for a long time, and that's kind of been a blessing because that's where all of my family lives. The closest people in my life all live there, so not having to move around to like different states was kind of a big thing. Kind of getting to like grow up around my family has been amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. The only person that's ever been in military, any of that's my grandpa was in the Navy, but other than that, I got nothing. So you guys got me beat there. But yeah, moving on to the next subject. So obviously you were committed to USC for, I think, since your freshman year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously it must have been tough decommitting from there after being committed for 3 or 4 years. But more so, how much harder was it decommitting knowing that you weren't going to be able to play with your brother? I know he's older than you, but still, I'm sure that was part of the reason where you obviously committed there in the first place.
Man, it was hard because I didn't get a chance to play with him in high school because my incoming freshman year, going to high school, he was a senior and I didn't go to Gorman. So like me thinking there was another chance we could have played together was kind of a hard thing to let go. But honestly, I felt like finding out more about Michigan State and everything else, like it kind of just made me like forget about that and just wanted to go on my own journey.
All right.
For sure.
So like, did your brother transfer in, or still he's in the portal right now still, right?
So yeah, he's still in the portal. Yeah.
Right. So did that go in like be interesting why you decided you didn't want to go there anymore because you felt like you had a chance to play with your brother, but now didn't you feel like you could explore more to different schools?
Honestly, I'm just gonna put it out there. I was committed before he was in the portal. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't want to say.
Yeah. I was committed since. Man, I think
I mean, you never know. He could have told you. He could have like told you, like I'm like not going here no more. So I like you.
No, it's funny. Like in December, I asked him, I was like, "Are you gonna stay?" And then he was like, "No." So it was kind of like I was like, even before like he even left, I was committed. So like that had no factor in anything.
But yeah. So talking about that a little bit, I'm more so into like, Mel Tucker and your relationship, because all I remember seeing is, at the beginning, he recruited you tough or hard at Colorado when he was there for a year. So when did talk about your relationship with Mel Tucker? Like, how long have you guys known each other? And all that, when did he start recruiting you even before Michigan State?
Man, yeah, me and Coach Tuck and Coach Els were all been talking since they were at Colorado. And it's funny, Coach, when they left, I was like, oh, damn. Like, so then I didn't know, like, if I should have a Colorado offer. I was like, damn. And then Coach Els calls me and just was talking to me. And then he said, like, oh, they offered me. And then it was weird because, like, he told me, like, I should have known. But, yeah, I mean, I've been talking to them for a while, ever since the summer of my junior year. So it's been a while.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off this, and then I'll let you go, Tyson. So I don't know if this has ever been discussed, but did Tucker and, Els, did they ever recruit your brother at wherever they were before that, whether it was Georgia or wherever that was? Or I don't know if anyone's ever asked you that.
Not that I know of. I've never asked that question himself to him. So yeah. I don't know.
That's what I didn't know if that, but so you got anything, Tyson?
All right. So like, yeah, you live pretty far away. So like, I want to know like what really made you want to go that far to the cold? Like it's cold here. I don't know if you've ever been here before, but like what made you want to come from that good weather to this Michigan weather that you never know what's gonna happen? It could be snowing tomorrow.
Yeah.
It could be snowing tomorrow.
No, yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I've never been to Michigan. I've never really been in snow. I mean, it snowed like maybe like once every like 20 years here. So but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Coach Els kind of put in my head that like let's say like football does work out. I mean, you're not always gonna, and like you go to the league and a team drafts you, you're not gonna care about the weather. So it was just like having an open mindset that like things aren't always gonna be pretty, but it's gonna be worth it. So I guess like it was just like a no-brainer just to take on an opportunity that I felt like was good and what I saw that they were building. and I really couldn't care about the weather. But it's gonna be a huge adjustment, though.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a big adjustment.
I was gonna say, forget about the weather, Tyson. He's never. You said you've never been to the Midwest, let alone visited Michigan State. That's probably, more of a hurdle than the weather, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been up north or anywhere near that.
That's pretty crazy. I don't think many fans listening to this probably don't even realize that you've never. I know most fans know you've never visited Michigan State because of the pandemic, but they don't know you've never been to the Midwest. I remember you told me that. I was pretty shocked.
I know.
Right. So that's crazy. Like I think that says a lot about our recruiting staff that like and Coach Mel Tucker that he went out and like that far to get recruits and like stayed on you even after he left Colorado, that he wanted like you on his team. So I think that says a lot about recruiting staff that they went that far out to go get players. They recruited nationally. So that's great.
Yeah, so to piggyback off, coming to Michigan State, obviously you mentioned Tucker and all that, but when did you like really start showing interest in Michigan State? Was it when Tucker got there and he started recruiting you? Because obviously none of us I don't think many Michigan State fans knew you until Tucker got there. So talk a little bit about that.
Man, it was kind of weird. I kind of getting a lot of interest into Michigan State when I figured out what I wanted to major in. Mm-hmm. And then I figured out like the type of programs they have there, and I kind of really liked it. And also like I don't know, I've kind of been all over the map in my high school, and I kind of just wanted to see what's up north. Yeah. And so I just wanted to just experience some new stuff and go around. So yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, did you have anything to add on that, Tyson, or no?
No, not really. No.
Okay, yeah. I mean that I just found that interesting, but yeah. So you talked about them having your major. So what are your plans for majoring at Michigan State, and after that, obviously, in case the NFL doesn't work out, which I'm sure that's your number one goal. But if it doesn't, what's your major and all that good stuff?
A major I've mostly decided on criminal justice. Mm-hmm. I kind of wanted to explore into that. Kind of wanted to do some other things with that. So yeah.
That's interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Me and Tyson got communication. So
yeah, that's what we do.
That's hard. Yeah,
that's what we do. That's cool.
But you got anything, Tyson?
Listen, I wanted to know like your opinion like on the recruiting process, because like I know I recruited, like it's fun and stuff going on visits and stuff, but like how do you feel about it? Did it get too much for you? Were you like did it get to a point? Like, yeah. Basically.
Honestly, like it was kind of easy on me. I mean, having my brother and like seeing him throughout high school and kind of seeing how his process was and getting to learn like what to do and what not to say and stuff like that, and like how to be or like how to act around coach, how to talk to them. It's just like made everything a lot easier. Going on visits it's fun. You know that, Tyson. It's fun. It's fun. But yeah, it's all fun, and I think my recruiting process was good. I think I ended up where I wanted to be at. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, people forget too. Like you probably didn't visit a lot of places after you committed to USC, I'm not sure, you might have. But also another thing I wanted to say that I really loved about your recruiting process is it was really closed sealed. Like nobody knew. You were really considered Michigan State besides like, the 24/7 guys. But that's something I always loved about you is nobody, and it was kind of a surprise, like when you flipped. So is that always something you said like to your whole team? Like nothing's going to get out of me potentially liking Michigan State, or did you not really pay much attention to all that?
Man, I didn't pay much attention. I didn't even know how the 24/7s do like even guessed it. I don't even know.
Yeah,
that's hats off to them, but I never told them like a dime. I've never spit out anything about that. So, sure, I don't know how many people figured that one out.
That's crazy. That's really cool to hear, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you: did you ever like feel growing up? Did you ever feel like any pressure, like from like your brother, being this big time recruit, and you coming in high school? Did you ever feel like pressure for him that you had to do him and you had to be better than him, or did he ever like pick on you, like, yeah, you're never gonna be better than me, type stuff,
Nah, honestly, nah. I mean. Yeah, there was a lot of pressure, but honestly, like him always being my older brother, yeah, he gonna pick on me, but he always gonna be the first one to pick me up. So I mean, that pressure, like kind of hit my freshman year, kind of when his senior year when he was some big name, and like here I am, just a little freshman who has to live up to it. It was a lot of pressure. It kind of hit me, but at times it just didn't feel like anything.
All right.
A lot of guys say they don't have a role model. Some do. So obviously you're a linebacker. Are there any guys in the NFL you look up to that you're like, hey, I want to model my game after them? Or are you just more like, my game is my game. I don't really look at anyone else's game.
No, honestly, yeah, there's a lot of guys that I do model my game after. I mean, to me, I love Bobby Wagner. I love Jamal Adams. It's crazy. He's a safety, but he's also a linebacker. But yeah, I love those two dudes. Those are like the dudes that I watch film on, dudes that I like try to like watch tape on and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah, but I mean, if you don't have anything else, Tyson, I mean,
No, that's good. It was good.
The other thing I was going to ask is, are there any former Michigan State players that when you committed or when you're maybe showing interest that some guys go out and watch YouTube on some guys, was there a player at Michigan State that you were like, or the staff showed you, this is what we want you to be? Whether it was Darian Harris, who's on the staff right now, who was a really good linebacker. Did that ever go into, your mindset, like looking at someone at Michigan State you wanted to model your game after, or not really?
A lot of it was more the coaches showing me Antoine Simmons.
Okay.
They said he was a really good leader. They said he was like other than being a really good football player, he was a really great leader. He's always doing the right thing. So Coach Ellis always like talked about him, and Coach Tuck always talked about him. So yeah.
All right. So like, I see a lot of like these pages, Michigan State pages, like when they do their lineups, a lot of them have you in there to like get a lot of reps next season. Like they understand the competition that you've played against, very high competition. They feel like they watch your film and they feel like you can play a lot. How do you feel about that? That they have the confidence in you that they feel like you can play early.
Man, that's actually really like I never even saw that myself. I don't really pay attention to my own stuff, but that's good knowing that like people who never like really see me play have a really good feeling about that, and like getting obviously a chance to like that people think I have a chance to play is great.
One thing I wanted to ask, because a lot of people, they don't like going to watch film and all that stuff. So for someone that's never watched you play, like you said, some of these Michigan State fans, describe your game to someone. What are your best attributes? What are some stuff that you say I need to work on and all that?
Man, that's a really hard one. I kind of my biggest critique. So I feel like as a backer, I feel like I'm very downhill, very physical. I do show flashes of great speed. I feel like the game stuff I do need to work on is probably a little bit of pass rush. Maybe Tyson can help me out with that. A little bit of zone drops, but other than that, those are the two things I feel I'm good and bad at.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. What about you, Tyson?
I just feel like I'm like really like I feel like things I've really improved at was like this. I feel like my sophomore year I was really good on the pass rush. I had like 12 sacks, but I went in there. I felt like I was weak, so I really improved my strength and like I improved in my run game stuff. I feel like I've really improved in that, and I just need to work on like my strength and just using my hands more, keeping my hands active because I got to get past these old linemen. So.
One thing I want to say, and you both can answer this, that I've always wondered. So you guys mentioned all these, whether you're good at some things you need to improve on, but I've always believed part of it's also mental. Like if you don't have, I could be wrong, but if your mentality isn't every play, like, I'm going to sack them or I'm going to, whatever it is, strip the ball,
right?
That's part of it where some of these guys fail. Am I right or am I wrong on that state? Whatever you want to call it.
I feel like that, like, you're right. Like, like you can really like tell when somebody's mentally out of a game and they don't want to be there. Like, you can tell, like, I'm going against an old lineman and like I've been beating them the whole game, and they're like, man, whatever. Like, I'm out of here. Like, but it's also hard to keep, like, if you have a bad play, a couple bad plays, it's hard to keep sometimes it's hard to keep yourself mentally into it that you feel confident. Like, it's like hard. Like, it's not easy to just stay. It's not easy. Like, this game is not easy though. keep your confidence up the whole game.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a short-term memory. I mean, you make one bad play, you just got to get back and just keep your head in straight. But yeah, the mental game is a really big part of it. It's obviously the biggest part of it. I mean, I feel like you have to be your biggest believer in yourself so that you can succeed in a lot of things. So the mental game is probably the biggest part of football.
For sure. One of the last things I had, and then I'm not sure what you have, Tyson, but this is something I've really wanted to ask you. So obviously you played in Cali, you played in Nevada, Vegas. The competition's very good where you're playing. Like it's probably some of the best in the country. So do you feel that that's, I don't know if you guys, played last year or not because of COVID, but do you feel like that is in a way helped you prepare more for college where, no offense, Tyson, but some of these Michigan guys, they don't get to play fall and summer or spring.
Yeah, we don't get spring ball.
Yeah, like where you are.
Really?
Oh no, we don't play spring ball here. No.
Wow.
So that's what I'm thinking, like, because Florida, all these other states that are, Texas, where they play basically year round. Do you think that's prepared you more? Or do you not really look at it that way?
It's honestly, yeah, it's prepared me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting through seasons and getting through like different types of weather, I mean, it's great. Yeah, I feel like that competition is something different in Cali. I mean, going through really 10 hard weeks of football, having 5 national games against top 25 max preps teams, and then going into season, you're playing Mater Dei, you're playing Servite, you're playing other top 5 teams in the nation. And you're just like, your body's beat. Your body's definitely beat.
Yeah. That's something that Tyson, I think the fans would love to hear that from you. Like it blew my mind when I heard that you guys only really play in the fall and practice in the summer. Like, can you, I guess, talk a little bit about that for some fans that may not know, Tyson?
Yeah, we don't play spring ball. I mean, I think we could if we did it in the right time and we got some lucky weather. Got a really lucky weather to play. But like, it is crazy. Like we start workouts in the summertime, play in the fall, and then we're done.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. But that's really all I have. Do you have anything else to add on, Tyson?
No.
Yeah, you answered everything great. I'm sure that everyone's gonna enjoy this first episode. Right. Obviously, I know we're not perfect. We probably made mistakes. We're gonna improve on that, guys. But yeah, thank you guys for all that tuned in. I hope this was a great first episode. Ma hasn't really done many interviews. I haven't seen you do many, so hopefully he gave you some perspective that you guys might not have known about him before. If you want to end the segment, Tyson, you could.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching In the Zone podcast, and we're out of here.